All right, team, it is 2025 and we are budgeting. So we are going to break down how to budget for Universal this year and where the heck do you start? Don't stress out because we've got you covered right here. Budgeting can be super hard. So frankly, where do you start? Well, you start before you even plan the trip. You start well before you ever make it to Florida for Universal. And this year's gonna be a big one with Epic Universe opening. So let's like if you're not budgeting already, we might already be behind. Setting a budget and having expectations is going to be a great way to pre-plan your trip, kind of figure out what you wanna do, how you're gonna do it, when you're gonna do it, and it's gonna allow you to come home without kind of stressing out about how much you spent on your credit card bill, because I think we've all been there at least once. Just like any trip you're gonna take, the first place you need to start is when are you going? How are you getting there and where are you staying? Kind of figuring out those goals, planning when you want to get to Universal, that is going to impact your budget. Tickets, hotel prices, and transportation prices are all going to vary throughout the different times of the year. And so sometimes when it's going to be busier, it might be more expensive. And then other times when nobody else is there because they're all in school, it might be a little bit more budget friendly. You also need to consider things like how long do you want to stay in Universal? Universal, even with the addition of their third park, is not quite as big as Disney, so some people don't think you need as long. With Epic Universe, which you can only get in for one day right now, which we'll talk about in a little bit, you know, things might look a little bit different based on how you want your vacation to go. So you kind of need to decide what you want to do, what experience you want to have, and how long you want to be there. If you're looking to do every single thing under the sun, you might want a little bit of extra time, but if you're okay to kind of give up some things and maybe not do every single thing at Universal, you can probably do it a little bit shorter. I don't even really know where to start with this. Budgeting can be so difficult. Not true. You've not been paying attention so far. We know exactly what we're doing. Our first step is we need to realize how much we can spend. There's gonna be a maximum, there's gonna be a minimum to some things. How much can you spend? Well, it's written right here. No, it's not. That's up to you. I can't tell you how much you can and can't spend. Universal can actually be pretty affordable if you're paying attention to what you're spending. There's never really a bad time to visit Universal. Disney and Universal kind of both have what are considered down times or slow seasons, but Universal's are a lot more noticeable than Disney's. Disney, since the pandemic, haven't had as extreme down times as they used to in the past. Universal can still have those. However, starting in May, we're not really expecting that as much, because May 22nd, 2025 is when Epic Universe opens and changes all of our lives forever. Some good times to go if you are looking for that downtime is going to be times like January, February before spring break kicks in, early March before crowds get really crazy, and then kind of April once crowds are back off spring break but school is still in session. May is when things get crazy. Another good time to consider going is sometime in like September, end of August, when schools are back in session. Again, 2025 might look different, but that's what we've experienced in the past. The busy crowds, though, are at Halloween Horror Nights. If you are looking for a slower park day, you won't get as much time in the park, but you're gonna experience less crowds on days that Halloween Horror Nights is happening at night. People kind of like to sleep in, they like to chill out, and they'll go to the park in the evening during that special ticketed event. So that means most of the time during the day, you can have a nice, calm park day. But now that we've decided like how much our budget is and when we're going, we gotta figure out where we're staying.
And so now we're at MCO. We're still talking about Universal budgeting. So now we're getting into the section where we talk about hotels and Airbnbs and where you can stay when you're on property. So first, you can stay on property when you're at Universal. They have tons of different resorts and they go from most inexpensive to maybe some of those fancier options. Staying on property is gonna give you a lot of perks, like you get early entry. Sometimes with certain resorts, you get free express pass, which is a huge major perk. You also can get different discounts and just different things that come along with that, including free transportation. There are 3 different types of value levels that you can stay at when you're staying at Universal. When it comes to the value resorts, there's actually technically 3. So there's Cabana Bay as a value resort, and then both sides of the Endless Summer. These 3 are going to be the ones that count for you value in resorts. For your prime value, there's Aventura, Stella Nova, and Terra Luna. Terra Luna and Stella Nova both are brand new and they come along with Epic Universe. Quincy just did a full tour of the Aventura Hotel, so if you want to check check that out, keep an eye on the channel. The Signature Collection includes Portofino Bay, Hard Rock, the Royal Pacific, Sapphire Falls, and the brand new Grand Helios, which opens along with Epic Universe. Not all of them come with that free express pass, so definitely check out the premier resorts to see which ones offer that, because that to us is the biggest perk for staying on property. Finally, if you're budgeting and you're being really intentional with your money and you feel like staying on property is just not worth it for you and you can find better options elsewhere for your budget, there are a lot of different hotels, Airbnbs, Verbos, lots of different ways that you can stay in Orlando without necessarily staying on property. Now, you do lose out on those perks, but sometimes it's also more budget friendly. That being said, you do need to consider things like Uber fees and parking fees if you're not going to stay at Universal, because you will have to pay for those. But now MCO Emma is going to let you go because she's tired, and you can go back to Emma at her apartment. Take it away, girl.
So let's talk budgeting tips, things to consider after you've decided when and where you're going and kind of what you want your vacation to be. There's lots of things to think about. For example, the first one is going to be decide if you want a pool day and some park days or just some park days. Pool days can be a great way to kind of help you save money. You're going to be utilizing things at the resort that you wouldn't otherwise use, but you have already paid for. However, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing pool and maximum park days. That's not really going to save you money, and in a way, you're just paying extra time for your resort if you're looking to budget, of course. Next up is buy your park tickets before your trip. A lot of people don't know that sometimes you can actually save by buying your tickets in advance rather than buying them on the day of your trip. So some people actually do wait and they go and they buy their tickets the day they get to Universal or Disney, and kudos to you guys. I am such a planner. That would give me so much anxiety personally. So I have always bought in advance, and at times you can actually save up to 20% off your tickets if you buy them in advance. That 20% is going to be tied to the multi-day tickets. Another perk to buying them in advance is you already have them on your phone. You don't even have to go to will call all the time. Sometimes you might, so make sure you're reading the fine print before you buy things, but it's gonna save you time. You don't have to go to guest services. You can kind of skip over those lines and just head straight into the park. So not only could you save a little bit of money, it's also gonna save you time on the actual day of your vacation. Another thing to do with tickets is you might wanna consider skipping that park hopper option. However, there is one ride that you cannot get on unless you have a park hopper ticket, and that is the Hogwarts Express. The Hogwarts Express gets a lot of people to buy that park hopper ticket. I get it, we've done it. I love the Hogwarts Express. However, if you're looking to save a little bit of money, consider giving up the Hogwarts Express and your park hopper ticket. The more time you have in the parks means the more things you're gonna be able to do per day. So you don't necessarily have to go back and forth unless you just really want to and you find the money in your budget for that. Now, if you're trying to save as much as possible, maybe doing one day in each park, if you're only doing the original 2 Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios, might save you a little bit of money. Now, one thing to remember specifically with Epic Universe is you actually cannot buy any specialty tickets when it comes to Epic. You can buy a single day ticket as a part of your vacation package that you're purchasing with Universal. The only people who can purchase a single day ticket right now are Universal pass holders. The only way you're getting into Epic without being an annual pass holder is buying a Universal vacation package that has a minimum of 3 days, 2 days spent at the other parks and 1 day spent at Epic Universe. Even if you buy up to a 5-day vacation package, only one of those days can be spent at Epic. Oftentimes, you can find Universal tickets discounted on places like Sam's Club or even Costco. So for example, there was actually a deal running as I was writing this video, and I want to read it because I don't want to get it wrong. But Sam's Club has a buy 2 days, get 2 days free for Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. That is basically half your vacation tickets free if you decide to go for 4 days. That's a great deal. Obviously, that does not include Epic, so if that's a must for you, not a deal that's going to work out. But if you don't care to go to Epic or you're going before it even opens, that is a huge deal. It can save you quite a bit of money. So definitely be paying attention. You can find deals like that, but you need to be very cautious when it comes to buying from third-party websites like Sam's Club, because Sam's Club is reputable. We have used them many times, but there are some third-party websites that will sell you like a really great deal, and it's not always what it seems. So make sure you're reading reviews before you buy from third parties, double checking what happens, because sometimes if you have to meet somebody in a back alley to get your tickets, it's not really worth it. Another tip that I love for any vacation I'm going on is I like to try to buy gift cards slowly as I'm leading up to the trip. I do this this all the time for Disney. I do like to do it for Universal as well. And Universal is a little bit different. Universal does not have as many physical gift cards in stores, but you can get them online on Sam's Club and Costco specifically. Just like any other vacation you're having, you also can bring your own food and drinks. There are going to be stipulations as always. You got to be smart. You cannot bring alcohol in. No glass, nothing that needs to be reheated or put into a refrigerator, nothing that smells really strong to kind of bother other guests, but you can bring your shelf staple items. I bring Uncrustables to the parks a lot. Just let them to thaw in my bag. They're so delicious. Chips, drinks, sodas, anything that you might want but you don't necessarily want to pay for while you're there, you can do that in advance and just bring it with you into the parks. If you're flying in and you cannot bring groceries easily, there are actually two options. You can always Uber to a grocery store. That is something you can do. You also can do Kroger grocery delivery or other grocery deliveries to your resort. Delivery is one of Kroger's online services. We use them a lot. We have had great experiences with Kroger's delivery service. And you just kind of go into the Kroger app, you select the time that you need your groceries and you want them delivered, and then you just shop like normal and check out there. Now, before doing all of this, you are gonna wanna double check with your Universal Orlando resort to see if they can accept the groceries or how that process works there. Disney is a little bit different. I've actually talked about that in my budgeting for 2025 Disney video if you wanna go check that out. But Universal, we have not tested it as many times, so make sure with your resort, especially if it's the newer ones, to call guest services and get the full lowdown on what grocery delivery looks like there before you do it. Now, some ways to save some cash once you are actually in the park is to skip things like the Express Pass. The Express Pass is Universal's version of the skip the line service. It is different from Disney's. You don't need to book any times. You don't have to worry about getting there and booking time slots. You can get on any ride. There are different tiers, but you can get on any ride without booking time. It's also very pricey. It is very expensive. It is gonna get you on more rides. It is gonna save you so much time. All of that is true. Some very popular rides are still not included in Express. So if you want to go riding on Hagrid's motorbike, something to consider is that ride is not included in Express and you're paying a lot of money for Express. It is a great service. We really love it, and it is such a nice like perk and upgrade. It is very expensive. If you are looking to save time in lines without paying for it, consider rope dropping. We rope drop a lot. It's something that we really love doing, especially at Universal. It's a very different vibe than over at Disney, and it's just so much fun. Rope dropping essentially is just getting in a line early in the morning before the park opens, so that way you don't have to wait in lines later. It is getting in line to avoid lines, but I respect it and it makes a lot of sense once you do it. Every park does have a different rope drop strategy. When it comes to rope dropping in Universal Studios, we like going to Gringotts, which is back in Harry Potter, but I think it's worth the trek. And then over in Islands of Adventure, we do find ourselves going to Hagrid's a lot. However, it is still like an hour wait even when we're rope dropping, which can be a time saver. Hagrid's gets incredibly long lines, but if you don't want to do that first thing, definitely consider heading over to Velocicoaster if everyone in your party is tall enough. Another thing to consider when it comes to budgeting is maybe buy your souvenirs before you get there. And I know that might sound a little like counterproductive, like it's not a souvenir necessarily if you're not purchasing it there. That's all about mentality, okay? I love buying my souvenirs sometimes before I get to different vacation spots. For example, this is my Hufflepuff robe. It does not say Hufflepuff. Would you have known that if I had not pointed that out? No, it's misspelled. And that's because I bought this for like $25, $30 on Amazon. I love my robe. It's so cute, it's so fun. I've worn it to the park several times, and it saved me so much money by buying my robe before I got there. Once you are in Universal, specifically with Harry Potter stuff, but any merchandise can get so expensive. The robes are $100 plus, depending on which ones you're grabbing, how nice they are. So my $30 robe that doesn't actually say Hufflepuff, that no one would ever know doesn't say Hufflepuff if I didn't tell you, saved me quite a bit of money. I love buying my backpacks and my pins and my plushes and all the good things. I love it all, but it adds up pretty quickly, and that a lot of times is kind of the hidden fee and the hidden thing that will cost you so much money once you get there if you're not really paying attention. I actually have a friend who, when her family would go to Disney, then you can do this similarly at Universal, they would buy surprise presents that the kids would get early in the mornings, so that way once they actually got to the parks and they were touching every single thing in the store, they could say, but remember you got that plush this morning, or like, remember, what if you get something else tomorrow? You don't want to waste your money. You know, you could get it, you might get it tomorrow. So it's a great way to kind of help curb spending once you're actually there, especially if you're there with younger kids. The only thing I would be cautious of is buying wands in advance. Buying your wands ahead of time. They're gonna be so much fun for pictures. They're gonna be super cute. However, the wands at Universal are interactive. So this one, once I take it to the park, I have had this for years and I can still take it back to the parks and it will work. It's interactive. You can kind of do your own spells. It's what makes it come to life. Any wand that you buy on Amazon is not gonna do that. So just be careful. Make sure you're not buying your kids wands and then they get there and they're wondering why they can't do magic but everyone else can. This is the one thing I might tell you, like, yeah, buy that in the park. It's also a lot of fun. You can go to Ollivanders and do the whole wand ceremony and then go buy your wand after. So I would definitely recommend. It's something to consider. I have 2 wands and I will probably be buying another one once Epic opens because they just released the new ones and they look gorgeous. At the very least, buy your robe before you go, if you want one. One thing I did not know until I was doing research on this is you have a AAA discount. So if you have AAA, most dining locations and shopping locations will actually offer 10% off of your food or whatever you're purchasing that day. It's not a huge discount, but it's gonna add up over the course of your vacation. Now, some people will tell you, no, it's not every single location, it's not every single shop, but just ask. The worst they can tell you is, oh no, we don't offer that here, and then you move on. The best thing they can tell you is, yeah, and that's actually gonna be $10 off your purchase. Now, what freebies can you grab though? There are actually quite a few freebies over in Universal. Universal, very much like Disney, does have celebration buttons. They're not as widely known, but you should grab it. It's completely free. They'll put your name on it and there's different celebrations that you can celebrate, and it's a really fun free souvenir that you can take home. You can also grab water cups, very similar to Disney, of course. You need to hydrate. Don't pay a ton of money for water bottles. They will add up so quickly. We have spent stupid money on paying for water in the theme parks before. It's not gonna be the best water you've ever had, but it's free. So make sure to grab it. You also can find select like stickers and fun little things for your kiddos throughout the parks. The resorts have them a lot of times, and so do different team members throughout the parks. It's not always a guarantee with the stickers, but it's something cute and sweet that you can kind of keep your eyes peeled for. Another free thing that Universal does is lockers. So this one's kind of it's a little bit of a caveat, you know, take it with a grain of salt. You have to use these lockers for certain attractions, but they're free. Hagrid's is a great example of something, a ride that does make you use your locker system. You can't have anything on your body, your person, so you have a free locker system that you just use your park ticket to unlock, or if you don't have a park ticket physically with you, you can get a little card from team members that are there to help you. It's completely free. It's really nice and super convenient. Park maps are also a great little souvenir freebie. It's something kind of thin and little that you can just grab as you're heading through the parks. I personally love grabbing park maps. I have a lot of travel journals from when I was growing up of different places we would tour or see, and I'll paste the maps in there just to kind of have something to look back in. It's something fun that you can fold out if you do a travel journal or you keep a scrapbook like that. I also think it's really neat to keep them because in 10 years that park map is not going to look like that, no matter what's going on for the most part. Disney is a great example of that, if things are constantly changing. The Epic Universe park maps, if they have them, we don't really know for sure yet, are going to be such a great souvenir because that's kind of one of those opening year things that eventually it's going to look pretty different. So it's going to be fun to be able to look back at those park maps and see what they looked like. Another awesome thing that Universal offers totally for free is the package delivery service. This is something that Disney has not brought back, and I think Universal is winning here. The package delivery service is a free service if you are staying at Universal Resorts, where you can actually take whatever you've purchased that day. If you don't want to carry it around the parks with you, you can actually have it sent back to your resort for free. It's super nice, super convenient, and personally there's a lot of things that I've been like, oh, I really want to buy that, but I don't want to lug it around, that would help avoid. They'll deliver it to your hotel completely free of charge, but you do have to pick it up the next day, so you cannot bank on picking it up that night. You will have to have it the next day. Because of that, you cannot be checking out the next day. You actually have to make sure that you are staying for at least the next day and then checking out after that. But the package delivery service runs between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. so it can kind of pop up anytime between those times. If you are checking out the next day, something you can actually ask about is the park to home shipping in park. That's actually something that they can do for you. That is not free. That is going to cost you a little bit of a fee, but it's still super convenient if you really want something and you know you can't get it back on the plane, or you just don't want to fool with it, honestly. And then finally, one really fun free thing that you can do is you can explore City Walk at night. So City Walk has different entertainment, it has lots of different dining and shopping options. It is not as big as Disney Springs, but it's a lot of fun, and you're probably gonna end up spending some money, but you don't have to. You can walk around for free if you want. I personally like going to Cowfish and also getting frozen yogurt and also getting donuts and shopping at the stores. That's a lot. So there you have it. It's just a few things to think about when you're considering your budget for Universal, things you need to consider when it comes to making it, and some freebies you can grab along the way, which is, I think, always a necessity on your vacation. Let us know your favorite budgeting tips in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are looking how to plan your Universal trip, we've got you covered. You can check out Quincy's 2025 Universal planning video on the channel right now. Bye.